In this video, we'll show you our new SpiderControl HMI editor in version 9 and show you how you can create your own project within 5 minutes. You can simulate and download it to a target. Once you start the editor first, you see this image, this flowchart, where all important functions are shown to work on your project. When you press New Project, this will start this wizard and you can give it a name. We'll call it My Sample. We'll define the working directories where the project shall be saved. Next thing is I can define the default resolution in pixels. For instance, 1024 pixels and 600 pixels in the height. I define the numbers of images which the wizard shall create. I can choose whether I want a background and a foreground, and if it should add automatically language files. Now we have filled out everything, we press finish and the wizard creates our first project. Next thing, we will define the driver. So we will import the variables from a respective source. We will press add. We can define a prefix name or just leave it as it is. We select the driver which has been added. We go to the property pane and select the communication protocol. We'll choose OPC UA, which is very common today. We can press at the driver this button and open the variable browser. The first line will show the IP address of the OPC UA server with which you want to communicate. Locally on my machine I have installed such an OPC UA server without encryption and password. I can connect to it and it will show me what is defined on it. I define the base node. I choose the browsing path. That means variables will be resolved in a symbolic way. And this setting will define whether the OPC UA server and the web server will reside on the same system. In this case, we can do a localhost communication, which is faster than a remote communication. Next thing is I will generate the variable list. So OPC UA will browse and will find 6,119 nodes. So I have imported my variable list. I press parse variable list, so it will be copied to the editor. And I can begin with my HMI design. For this, I open the first view. We have on the left-hand side the standard objects which are used in SpiderControl, buttons, edit fields, etc. And on top we have the galleries with respective macros and possible suggestions how macros could look like. We start with an edit box with drag and drop. We have on the right-hand side the property pane. And the most important pane is the basic properties with suggestions what can be configured. First thing is general. We have repanes which contains what the objects will show. We see we have a PPO, that's a process point. And I can now assign a variable and go to the left-hand side, open the second menu, and I'm now able to browse the variable list, and I can just select the variable and drop it to the respective field in the property pane. So that's all for configuration. There are more configurations which can be chosen if needed. For the moment, that's fair enough for our demonstration. We'll add a bar graph object and we'll also assign the same variable to the bar graph. and we will add in a button. The button text can be found here. It's a language tag, and they will just modify and call it inc for increment, and will assign an action. So you can write on a variable on mouse down action. We will unselect that and choose increment a variable instead. We will assign the variable name and define the value. So the increment step will be 10. So the function is defined. I make a copy paste, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and we'll change the text to dec for decrement, and modify to -10, so it will subtract a value. So this defines my first function. I will start the simulator, so we'll see how my project looks like, and I can press inc dec. I can select a value, enter a value. I can do the navigation on 4 different views. So this is my first project running in a simulation. Next thing, I would like to download it to a target system. I choose the download project functionality. So this will do a HTTP post to a target system, to a SCADA server. I can enter the IP address where my web server resides. I have one installed on my localhost PC, so the port has to be modified to 8090 instead. Password and username are needed to log in automatically. I will start the download, and the project has been deployed now. I open a standard browser and enter the URL. So that's localhost 8090, and the project is called mysample.html. So the browser opens the project. I have a communication with the web server and the respective driver. So that's my first project.